Hey guys, so Cameron, just today I was thinking, I was just reminiscing about basically like when I was in kindergarten and I had this friend, his name was Johnny Lowe's or Johnny Loza, couldn't remember his last name. We sat next to each other in class, and he lived a little bit further up the street than, wow, he lived like in Stewart's Mill. And you would go, like mom would take me over to his house, and I would hang out with him at his house, and we had all kinds of fun. This dude, he was a Hispanic, Lowe's last name, and like I remember we would take a piece of paper, and then we would draw out a room, and so we would draw our ideal room, and it would have like all kinds of stuff that we wanted to have in it. Like I had like a big TV, like a video game system, couches. I think I may have an aquarium. I definitely had a jetpack in there. I remember at that time, people were like, "Oh, 2015, we'll have jetpacks," and like I drew a jetpack. Like if I could probably do it on this, but I'm really trying to remember like what all did me and him, because I made one and then he also made one, and we just like to collude. And so it was really cool. I mean, I hung out with him too, just at his house, and I think he also played, I think we both played soccer together. I think we might have both played soccer at, dang, is it called Upward Sports? I think it is, where you get like the little stars. Oh man, I really remember that. You get the stars on your shirt for like, I guess, achievements for however well you played in the game. So I remember we had played Upward Soccer. I played soccer like in first grade, kindergarten. This is when I lived in Chapel Hill. And I was just thinking about John. I was wondering how he was doing, because like I remember, and I'm like, man, I never really paid a lot of attention to it, but I actually have always had Hispanic, multicultural friends. Like I remember I had a friend named Johnny, and then when I went to Arbor Station, I had two friends, Christian and Matthew. Christian was Hispanic and Matthew was black. And we would play like during recess. And during recess, I got put in timeout. I got put in timeout just for, I don't know, for stuff I was doing in class. I was probably just like being annoying or being a nuisance and not paying attention or something. So I got put in timeout, and it's funny how that kind of has reflected continually throughout my life in various ways. So that's a different thing, but yeah. So I've had Hispanic friends since I was in kindergarten. And it's so funny how I went and made a documentary in Colombia speaking Spanish with the native Colombians, and it was very, like, by the time I finished, I was almost immersed into their culture. But I've really realized it's been there. It's always been there in me, like, just having Hispanic, being a person of cultural diversity. And that's actually like cool. So I was just thinking like, man, what are some more ways I want to remember what I was drawing in that picture as a child, so I can like, man, let me make sure I like hit this stuff on my list of stuff that I wanted to do when I was a child, or at least it's like the stuff I wanted to have with my friends when I was a child. Because I'm like, I got the space for it. I can have more friends. I can have more friends over, and I want to be able to entertain my friends more. So like, what would I like that they would like? Sports, like watching sports, going to the sports games is definitely one of them. Especially in high school, I went to sports games with my friends, and then after the game, we would go to like a sports bar, and we would eat, and we would talk. And we had a lot of fun doing that. That's a really big one. What other stuff though? Like I don't really remember. The idea is that if I make this video and I watch it back in the future, maybe I'll remember more than I do right now. Because I mean, honestly, like I'm reminiscing to my kindergarten. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like kindergarten is, like, I'm turning 25 this year. Kindergarten was when I was 20, that was 20 years ago. Wow. So yeah, you will remember 20 years into the past, and you will remember probably, hopefully 20 years. Like when you're 20 years from now, you'll remember this. So like that time, it all counts, and it all definitely, it means a lot on what decisions you make in the future, how fulfilled you are in life, and how much fun and enjoyment you can get out of the fun and enjoyable parts, which is why I'm trying to really remember, because I'm like, ooh, like I know I like playing cards. I definitely like, I remember I had the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I had a friend, I had white friends too. So it was never like a thing for me, like, oh, racism, this and that. Like that wasn't even like a concept. Like I had white friends, I had Hispanic friends, black friends, I had Vietnamese friends. Like it was just kind of like, hey, we're just good people. So all that other stuff is just like irrelevant in my life experience, because that's just where I grew up. And that's one of the things I can say is very good about how my dad picked where I grew up, because I asked him, I was like, Dad, how did you decide where I was going to be? Like, were you going to, like, I guess, start a family or move to when you moved out of your parents' house? And he told me, he was like, well, Cameron, I was driving down the highway and I blew a tire. And then I went on to the exit and I got help. And then that's where I like set up, basically bought a house and started doing this business, which is kind of like a bad approach. I personally, like, I would be like, that's stupid. Like, that's pretty dumb. Why would you just like, oh, this place where I had this bad luck, that's where I need to move. But whatever, like, who cares? It's a good place because I got a good education. I lived in a good place. The whole county itself is actually really good, really smart. Like I'm pretty intelligent, just like overall across the board, and have good life skills, more than the average person. I've noticed, because I've met a lot of people, and they are lacking. So like it was, yeah. So he definitely, I gotta give him props for picking wherever he decided to have me and have be born. Because like I said, I didn't have any type of bad experiences like, oh, this and that and being put off. And no, it was just like, hey man, have fun, you're a kid. And so that's why I'm thinking, like, man, me and Johnny used to have all kinds of fun. And I think I was definitely in Boy Scouts. Yeah, so I definitely was like into like the outdoorsy type of stuff, hiking, and I remember even like having some like Matchbox racers, like where they had like a block of wood and you put wheels in it and you're supposed to carve the wood, and then it would be like, all right, we're gonna race them. I really did like that. I really did like that. So that's part of the reason why now that I'm older, I got more money. I'll have these cars, and then one of these cars will be a race car. So like, it's like, I got 3 Mustangs right now. The next one is gonna be a convertible, or it could be a dually truck, because I got a trailer also to tow these places, tow them to like the shows, the clubs, the events. So I'm trying to decide if I should get a dually truck or if I should get the convertible Mustang. Either way though, one of the 3 I do have right now, one's an automatic, the other one's an automatic, and another one's manual. One of those 3 is gonna be a race car. Probably not the convertible, because it doesn't really seem like cohesive. It's probably the one that has like the most work and is the most beat up. So that's my video series, like Cam Catches a Pony. So yeah, there's that. So man, what other stuff that we used to do? We used to hang out, and I definitely made a lot of music. I made a lot of music. I learned a lot of different instruments. So making music with friends is definitely a great way to go. I mean, I've recorded like multiple albums and just have not pushed it. But I should do more of that just for myself, just to like get out there. Like, what am I talking about? What am I expressing? Because when I rap or when I freestyle, it's completely different. It's a completely different energy. It's at the pace that I'm thinking. So I think faster than I speak. And when I rap or when I freestyle, I speak at that pace. And that's how, I can work with the English language. What else did we used to do? Man, like, I think we had some action figures. But I was never big on like WWE. But we did have some action figures. We would go walking we would go exploring. Definitely we went exploring. Still do that a lot. We play board games. Play some board games. Me and my friend Nick, we would play games, play video games, eat food, go over to his house. It's funny, I always went over to other people's houses, but I never invited them over to my house, like, as much. I mean, I've done that now that I'm older, but I just didn't do it, like, as much. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. It was a give and a take. I was going over to friends' houses, and I was friendly enough to invite people over to my house. So that's actually what it was. I remember I had a sleepover, and I had like 3 or 4 friends over that I went to school with. So really, really cool. What else? I used to make like bow staffs, and I think it's Joe staffs or Mo staff, where like one is shorter, one is the other longer, and practice some, like, if I had a staff, practice some martial arts. I'm taking boxing classes, so I'm still doing that type of stuff. What else? I used to go over to my friend's house, and I would watch him play video games, but he wouldn't let me play video games, which I didn't like, because I didn't want to just watch him have fun the entire time. So that's probably why, like, I don't know why I kept going over to his house. You know what? I've always had a lot of friends. Like, I've always had friends that I decided, like, this is my friend or this is not my friend, male and female. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with my friend. Or if they're not available, I just went to the other person in the neighborhood and I hung out with them. And I actually had like a lot of friends in middle school, elementary school, I've always had like friends of every type, like whatever, like male, female, every race. Yeah, literally, like, I got this one friend named Kelsey. She was gothic. I had another friend named Steven. He was Vietnamese, black friends. Man, that's funny. I've had a lot of friends over the continent, and they're all good people. Well, they weren't all good people. That's why I stopped hanging out with them. Also, my one friend, this friend I went to school with her. Her name was Destiny. She had a trampoline. We would go and jump on her trampoline, and then she had a zip line in her backyard. That was really cool. She was really cool. She was funny. I liked hanging out with her, and we would use that zip line. That would be fun. And, I would just like go over, talk to her. We would talk on the trampoline, jump around a little bit. Then I would go home, and that was really cool. Also, played Halo. I had that friend who wanted me to watch him play video games. Played Halo with him a lot, and so he would play Halo, or we would play like some other stuff. So definitely there was a lot of video games going on. He wanted to go to some like Renaissance. I wanted to go. Him and his family went to a Renaissance festival. But I guess, however, my behavior was, they didn't want to take me. Well, they wanted to take me, but they told me they wouldn't take me because of my behavior. So I still do want to go to a Renaissance festival. That would be cool. I always wanted to get a bow and arrow. Yeah, and learn how to use it. Like I remember when I was in elementary school, Chapel Hill, we had PE and we were jogging these trails. So I used to jog trails too. So it's part of PE class, and we were jogging these trails, and then like the way they set it up, like over the hill, like the trail goes over a hill, and then at the bottom of the hill in the valley, they had put up archery targets, and this was in elementary school. So like they had like the other, I guess the older kids, like in the older grades, they were learning how to do archery and shoot the targets. And I was like, that is so cool. Like I wanted to learn archery after that. Yeah, I wanted to definitely do some archery. I didn't though, because it was hard. I'm left-handed, so most of like the tools and equipment is for right-handed people. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of money or know how to really get around the internet, so I didn't do anything about it. I couldn't see my way out of that situation. But now it's a little bit different, so I definitely would like to do some archery. That would be cool. Like, you know, just like have a bow or have a compound bow. And oh yeah, I remember I had this friend. Like, this is like a girl. She's a girl. She was my friend. Her name was Brooke, white girl. So yeah, I'm just remembering all these good friends I had. Coming up in school. Yeah, so definitely would do some archery. What else? Man, so that was like that was definitely like in elementary school. So then what else? So definitely I do like the aerodynamic aspect of just how aerodynamics works. And like, it just seems like a very interesting field, like how they're able to, how wind just like is able to like gain pressure, and it was just all like very interesting. I would like to learn it because I did play Ultimate in high school with a lot of my friends. So when we play Ultimate, that's all, like, you know, you're using a disc, you're throwing a disc, that's all aerodynamics. So I was like, that type of stuff is really interesting to me. And I mean, it's still interesting to me. I got these books back here on how to get my pilot license. So it'll come up again because I'm gonna get my pilot's license and learn how to fly a plane. Probably get a jet and a helicopter. Well, plan to get a jet and a helicopter. Dang, did I put a helicopter on that picture that that Johnny used to do? Man, I probably did drop a helicopter. So, you know, I'll just get one of those. I had a magazine that's just like, you can just buy them. Like, it's just stuff to do. Man, so that's, yeah, man, I kind of forget about this type of stuff. I don't know why, in some type of like, woe is me, because my life is, I don't know, like, I had a really good life. Like, in spite of the fact that my parents got separated and they couldn't work out their differences, they still played a very big impact and role in my life. Yeah, I mean, I have opinions about them, about who they are and what their character is. I can't make decisions for them, but they did play very big roles in my life. So they were influential in my life. So I had a great childhood coming up. Like, I had friends. I saw my parents often enough. We would go to the movies. Like, me and my dad, we would always go to the movies, go to the mall. What else did we like to do? I think I got to build a bit. This was like when I was like super young, man. I went up to the mall. I got a Build-A-Bear, and he was like a karate character. And then like one Christmas, I got a train set. Like a you know, one of those like miniature train sets with like the railroads. You set it up during Christmas. That was interesting. That was pretty cool. Had a little toy train set. I mean, this type of stuff you don't really see people super in depth playing with. Kids, I mean, maybe kids still play with it, but you don't really see it. I don't really, at least in my view of reality, I don't see it. But that was cool. And then so even like the friends I had, like, were like, I lived like, they're like this. I used to live next door to this girl called up the street, like her name was Chelsea. This is like a white girl that I was friends with. So we were just friends. I remember like they just lived like 4 or 5 houses down the street. Her and my sister were friends. So that was why we were, I think probably why we were friends. And then like man, what else? Like what else did I like to used to do? So I started learning Spanish in like 2nd grade. So Christian, I remember I mentioned him, his mom actually came into the school and was teaching us some Spanish in elementary school. So that's pretty much when I started learning Spanish. Oh, and then I think there was this girl there, she was Asian. She had taught us all how to use chopsticks one day. And like, because she was right-handed, she was teaching them how to use, this is the girl in my class. Like, so she was in like kindergarten or 1st grade. She was teaching people how to use chopsticks. But because I was left-handed, I just figured out on my own how to use chopsticks with my left hand. So it was different, but I was like, well, it works. So I've known how to use chopsticks since like 2nd grade. Yeah, I definitely did a lot of art. So did a lot of good art. I've made vases, I've made portraits. I've had a piece that's been in the High Museum before. That was really cool. So I definitely have like been able to work with the clay, working with pastels, also fire in the kiln. Like I remember in high school, I had a teacher. She opened up an art studio outside of school. And so at that art studio, she had all kinds of kilns and wheels. And I think they set up a coffee shop in there as well. And so in the art studio, it was a ceramics art studio in Douglas County. So this is, you know, now that I really think about it, like they were really cool with me. Like I know I'm in high school, but they gave me the keys to the place. They gave me like the keys, like, hey, look, you want to go in there and make some art and make some ceramics, you can do that. Don't really worry about, like, just buy the clay from us so we can, you know, we sell the clay to people who want to do the ceramics. Like they really hooked me up. Like they really showed me love. Like I've been getting the keys to places for a long time, actually. Like, cause they like, this is like a real business that one of the teachers had started. And they had like thousands of dollars of equipment in there and kilns, and like if I was a bad kid, I could have been like bringing all kinds of crazy people in there or stupid stuff like that. But I was really honing my craft of learning how to use ceramics in the wheel. So they were really cool. I think his name was Miss Harrison, and also John Malone. No, Paul Maloney. I actually still have one of his cups. He was like a resident artist there at the home. And then also the teacher later, well, the lady who owned the place, her name was Crystal. She sold it to another one of the teachers at the school. No. The teacher at the school sold the place to Crystal, who was running it and had the art studio going at the home. But the guy there, Paul Maloney, resident artist, was really cool. He taught a couple demo classes in my high school about how to throw on the wheel, how to pull, and just, you know, how to be. And he really gave me some good life advice. This is this is like when I'm about to get out of high school. Like I'm a senior, and he was like, I think he had just graduated college. So he was probably like 22, 23 at the time. And he needed to have some more art for his portfolio. So he was coming back to his hometown, teaching some classes, building up his portfolio before he made his next move. Which is, I mean, he's a pretty smart guy. Like, he definitely had a good head on his shoulders. And you just gotta have discipline about things and clean up after yourself and take care of the studio. And this is how you throw a real cool pop, throw a real cool this and that. And dude was real legit. Like, he was really cool. He was a good guy to look up to. So, and I mean, and even him, like, he was white. Like, so, like, I've always had, like, good, all people around me. Like, I've always lived in, like, a world where all the people have been good, except until I got to Atlanta. Then I was like, man, a lot of the black people here are just trash. Like, they're just really bad people. It doesn't have anything to do with them being black. It has everything to do with them just being a bad person. But it was, like, so disproportionate. I was very put off. But now I've gotten past that because I don't trust people as much anymore. Unfortunately, though, that was because I got to Atlanta. Like, I tell you, like, these people trusted me so much, they gave me the keys in high school to a full-fledged business. And they were like, yeah, this is the key to the combination. You can go in there whenever you want. Pretty much, like, we don't have to be there. You don't have to call us. I mean, you could call us, but you don't necessarily have to call us to go in there. Like, what? Yeah, so that's a little bit about how I grew up. So I grew up in a place where people trusted me because I was trustworthy. And upon reflection, hindsight, that's probably why I trusted other people, because I believed them to be trustworthy. I have no reason to trust them. Because it's not the same as like a social dynamic, like a school where people have credibility and reputation. You see them on a regular basis. So it was different. And, but man, so I definitely was really big into the arts, and played a couple instruments. I had a mandolin at one point. I have a banjo, percussion. I definitely got real good at snare drum, drum set, the tenors, bass drum. Still trying to figure out how to get my ears right for the timpani. That's a challenge. Vibraphone, I want one of those. Xylophone, marimba. Yeah, having a vibraphone would be, that's one of the dreams. But I definitely need a bigger house. So I probably just have one room just for the vibraphone. That would be cool. I gotta make sure to remember that. It's something to work towards, like a room in the house with just the vibraphone and percussive instruments. That would be lit. But first with just the vibraphone. So even back then, I had a really good time making friends. I had good times with my friends. We had good sleepovers. We played video games. When did it go wrong? It went it definitely went wrong at a point. But essentially it went wrong when, I could tell you when it went wrong. It went wrong when I moved in with my dad and he was married to this woman he probably shouldn't have married. His second marriage. And that is just about when things just were like, pretty much went downhill for my dad, especially. And then for me, indirectly. So, and then after that, like the quality of people I was encountering also went down. So that's something to pay attention to. That was about like six years ago. No, 5 years ago. But before that, man, the people, like, I was on Reading Bowl, so I always read the books. I was on Reading Bowl team. My librarian, dang, I need to remember her name. She was so cool that, like, I would stay after school for Reading Bowl. And, like older white woman, probably like in her, I think her name was like Mickey Nicholson. Her first name was Mickey, like, which is really cool. I'd stay after school for Reading Bowl, do the Reading Bowl, and then do Reading Bowl team and practice. And like, this lady was so cool. My mom was still working like way in a different side of town, different count, like same county, but just different part of the county, other side of the county. She would drive me home. And like, actually, like, it kind of made me seem like, man, it was kind of like, I guess she was like a mother figure to me, because she drove me home, and I felt like, I felt some type of, I felt more close to her than just a teacher-student relationship. And it was probably like, because it was like a mother figure type of relationship. Like, she was just like, yeah, of course, like, you're my student, you're so passionate about the things we're doing here, of course I can drive you home. Like, I'm taking care of you. I'm really nurturing you. So just take you home. And I felt like completely comfortable. And that probably just made me feel like very comfortable with her just like just doing that for me. Like, that was like, that's love right there. Cause she could have just been like, oh, well, you don't have a ride home? Well, you can't stay for Reading Bowl. Sorry. And I would have been like, what? No, I want to stay for Reading Bowl. Yeah, so that was like middle school. Oh, there is one thing I remember in middle school. There weren't a lot of black people in my middle school, but we all had our own different visions of our life. We all had our own different personalities. So we weren't friends. Like, we had our own friends. We made our own friends. We had our own friend groups. And so that's actually like very unique, because a lot of times I think people believe that just because like these people are all black, that they're gonna be friends. Like, maybe probably not all white people, but there's probably some group of white people that thinks that like, oh, you guys are all black, you should be friends. But it wasn't like that. It's like, I don't like this person, so I'm not their friend. Regardless of whether or not they're black. It just wasn't like I don't have to like you because you're black. That doesn't make any sense. Like, do I like you? Like, black is not a person or a character trait or a personality. It's just a descriptor. So I was just like, I don't like these people. They're not my friends. I have my own other friends who I do like. But I did make the mistake of comparing myself to them because they were black. Which, at that time, in middle school, in reflection, I should not have done that, because again, the reason I'm not friends with them is because I've already compared myself to them, and like, we're not the same. And the only reason I was comparing myself is because they were getting girlfriends and I wasn't. So I was like, oh wow, man, like, what? How they get a girlfriend and I'm like, what? So it's just like, I wasn't doing that at that time in middle school. So that was why I was like, man, maybe I should compare myself. Because really, probably it sounds like now, like, I was jealous. I wasn't jealous of them because they were black. I was jealous of them because, like, if they're black and they got a girlfriend, how come I'm without and I'm black? So that's probably, I started seeing myself as lesser than, which has no real bearing on who I am as a person and like who I actually am, because we all had different characteristics and capabilities and potential on like what areas of life we'd be good in. So maybe they were just better at social skills at that time. They probably were, right? So it's not like woe is me, but I couldn't see myself outside of that box. So that's a tough thing. But I mean, all in all, those people that I did go to school with, they're all, however they're living their life, I'm sure it's their own unique version of their life experience. And with them being black is just a factor, of course, because I've gone to schools or been in places where everyone's black, and it still doesn't matter. It's like, who is the person? Like, who am I as a person, right? That's like everything else is secondary. So man, so that was like, so definitely still got the books, still got the art. I do so much walking and jogging. I got a bike. I bike to places. I bike to the grocery store. I bike to go door knocking. Like I bike now. It's funny. Like I bike now to go door knocking at $500,000 homes. So it was just like, it's like that has not changed. I'm still exercising a lot. What else? What else have I not done? Like, so I definitely, at one point I was reading a lot of manga and still had books. I was still researching finances and real estate and just like liking plants. Oh, I had a garden. When I was in, did gardening. I never took a gardening class. I just started a garden in my backyard. And so, just had like, eggplants, watermelons, cantaloupe. These tiny tomatoes. These were like golden drop tomatoes or something like that. Lots of peppers, all kinds of peppers, jalapenos. I should make some jalapeno, like not jalapenos, but habanero video challenges. Like, who could eat the hottest habanero without drinking some water or drinking some milk? That would be a fun challenge. Be like, yo, you got to eat this boot jalokia. Hottest pepper in the planet. First person to not drink some water or the last person to drink some milk wins. That would be a fun challenge because like these peppers are like, there's like a whole capsicum scale of how hot they are. And so it's like, whoa. So I was really into like peppers and the main names, the domain, like the genus, the species. And so it's like the phylum, genus, species. So I was really into those. Fig trees. I ordered a couple of I tried to order a couple of fig specimens from a seed bank. However, I think I didn't do it right or something like that because I didn't get them. I was gonna definitely like start them from seedling. So I've always wanted to own an orchard. Always wanted to. So I'd definitely be like putting together like a fig orchard at some point where it's just probably like an acre or maybe 5 acres of just figs and just, you know, like this is my paradise, my version of paradise. So there's like a fig out there called Paradiso, and it's like something like, it's like an Italian fig, and they're like, well, what are you doing? He's like, this man, he would sit under the tree and he would eat figs all day long. And then they asked him like, what are you doing? And he would say, this is my paradise. And that's why the fig is called Paradiso. So that for me was like, if I could have a life like that, yes, Paradiso, paradise, or like you just, hey man, I'm just, you know, I got like 5 acres right here. You know, I'll just be sitting like, you know, the crops come in, I just be eating the figs. I definitely wanted to plant some olive trees because olive trees can live to like 1,000 years. Like, yeah, I got the olives, figs, get maybe some goats. Definitely wanted a small farm, get some goats, have some goat cheese going on. And definitely want some cashmere goats. But I want to go to Mongolia and get the cashmere goats. And just like, like make some sweaters from some cashmere goats, you know, that's like high quality. And just like, you know, how the goats, but the farm and whatnot. So I definitely have the trees, did the gardens, did another garden, grew some eggplant, grew Ichiban eggplant, made eggplant casseroles. I've made ice cream from scratch. I did that with my friends. And then we also started making, well, pretty much I started making, like, instead of ice cream, sherbets. So this is when my grandma was alive. So this was really, for me, it was like heartfelt because I could gift her something that I had crafted. So like I made some sherbet, watermelon sherbet, and I gave it to her. And she's like, oh, this is really good. I was like, oh, Grandma, I love you. Thank you for enjoying what I made. So that was really cool. So I really like to make the sherbets and hand make ice creams, soaps. I hand make soaps. So that one didn't turn out as successfully, but I still did it because I wanted to. So yeah, man. I mean, I would say like all in all, I'm actually doing just about everything I thought I would be doing and I've wanted to do, just not at the higher levels I wanted to do them. Like I had some ideas for hydroponics and how to grow plants hydroponically that I picked up. Why did I pick those up? It was around the same time I found out about 3D printing and robotics. I did remember, I did want, like when robotics was pretty big when I was younger, I just think my dad just didn't have enough money for it. Like, so, you know, I think I held that against him. Like, oh, why can't we do the robotics and do like the battle bots? But like that stuff is expensive. Like, so I can do that myself if I really want to do that. Like now, today, like get into the robotics and learn it and put them together. But we did like do some smaller electronic things. So, yeah. I definitely expect more of my dad than I probably should. But that's me. I mean, yeah, that's me. So, definitely did that. Robotics, the battle bots. So yeah, most of the things I'm doing that. But why did I get into the hydroponics? I just wanted a way to have like a full life. Like, so the thing about the hydroponics is you can get all the trace elements you need to live as long as you need like thermodynamically to prevent thermodynamics from taking an effect by getting all the trace elements into your body, preventing yourself from getting cancers. And I was like, well, we could grow plants indoors and do that. And so that was like, I had a vision on growing food hydroponically indoors to feed nations and people and cities in general. And so, I mean, that may have been just I mean, it still would be a good business model because people need food, there are food shortages, and it's a revolutionary way to grow food. But maybe I was projecting more of myself as the plant, and I wanted to get all of the trace elements and minerals and ideas and philosophies into myself and my mental mind and my emotional mind, my physical mind, my spiritual mind. And I saw that like you can do that not necessarily through the food you eat, but the water you drink or the things you listen to as a human. Because I feel like we're like plants, right? We spend a lot of time indoors, underground, and we come out like, you know, go get photosynthesized by interacting with the world around us, and then you know, then we go back indoors, you know, like, and create energy and like chlorophyll and paper, money, green. So maybe that could be one way. The business plan itself is could definitely do, not right now though, because I'm in the middle of a whole business that I need to finish. So birthing the business is like, it takes a lot more time than I anticipated, but that's because I just didn't have my emotions in check when I first started. It was all kinds of just like astronomically small probabilities taking place. Like, so which is part of the reason I didn't have my mind in the right place. So, I mean, now that those like things have worn off, half a decade later, I'm able to really do that and pursue, you know, I feel like, I mean, I've been able to do that and I've noticed it like wearing off over time, but I've definitely like, it's definitely like gone. So, which is good for me because that means I'm more present. So yeah, I definitely would say I'm doing most of the things I thought I would be doing years ago, even 20 years ago, except for like the hobbies and stuff. Like, you know, they say a man is his hobby, a man is made of his hobbies. I agree with that, but I also like working. So my dad worked a lot. I like working a lot. And I feel like that's because that's where you really like define yourself. You build your character. You just like, you engage with the world around you. You work on group projects. You see like, oh, what can I get done? If it's not, yeah, just what can I get done? Like, what can I achieve? Like, it's a real achievement. And then you get compensated for it to go fulfill your other dreams and hobbies. It's like, man, like, and some of the stuff, like some of the classes I read, well, some of the books I read, like Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck. These people, Great Depression, Dust Bowl, these people were dying to find some work. Like, there's literally, like, they was traveling from Oklahoma to California just to find something to work on. And they would die along the way. Like, so for us to be able to just like, oh, I can just go ride my bike and go get some work for myself is pretty, you know, I mean, it's not recognized by everybody, but it's recognized by me. It's like, yeah, man, like, you're in a good space, a good space in life. What else, man? Like, definitely like Chinese food a lot. It's a good place up the street. Family could have visited more, but most families don't do that because of whatever conflicts with brothers and sisters and living in different states and the expenses of traveling. So, not a major thing. Yeah, man, like, that's good. Like, so what could I do though? This all started because I wanted to find out more ways to be entertaining to my friends so I could have more friends over and have a consistent friend group. However, I'm starting to realize that most friends are just not qualified. Most people probably aren't qualified to be my friend for a long time because they may not grow as fast or as dense and as richly as I'm growing. So whenever like something is like too rich, like if you ever had lobster bisque, it's like, oh, this is good, but it's like, dang, I can't really eat too much of this because it's like, dang, like I want to, but lobster bisque. I should liken myself to lobster bisque. Like, I'm so rich in experiences and stories and histories and such like that. It's just like man, like, this is good, but like, crap, I can't really finish it because it's so good. It's so rich. Man, like, I'm starting to really see myself like that. Like, I'm very rich. Like, as a character, as a dynamic. I go on adventures. Most days are an adventure for me, especially doing door knocking or going to the games, meeting people in the city, male and female, guys and girls. Like it was funny. Like, I was door knocking and I met this salesman, and he was like he sold pest control. And I was like, oh, cool. He was telling me he was from Colorado. He had lived in Europe. He comes out here and does door knocking for like 4 months out of the year, makes all his money for the year and lives off of that. Like, met a cool guy like that. Just meeting people and engaging, live like being in life. And then also on the other side of it, I do my homework. Like, you see all this paper, all of these like values and things that I have on the wall to remind me, like, a prudent man sees danger and takes refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. Yeah. Sowing and reaping is about what I will ultimately end up with. See, like that, like even as a child, the ideas that I was sowing then, I'm ending up with them now. And this is like, I mean, for most people, they feel like life doesn't even start. Like, I mean, until you're 25. Like, you're not really fully like out from under your parents, doing your own thing, being able to just go be where you ever want to be. Like I was like, this one guy called up because he wanted to rent my house. And I was like, what's your credit score? And he was like, oh man, I don't even know anything about credit, man. I'm 25. What, you know what I'm saying? I don't have any credit. Which I was like, whoa. It's kind of funny because like, I was like, bro, I knew about credit scores when I was like 17. So for me to have been that far ahead of like, I guess the average person, like, I'm not judging him. I'm just saying, like, he was 25. Everybody else knew what his credit score was. They were also older. So he was probably one of the younger people who called and didn't know what a credit score was, but I knew what a credit score and how credit started to work when I was 17. I was like, for me to be that far ahead of the average person, where that's like 8, 9, 10 years, like, I'm doing well. So when I say I'm rich, because time will tell. Like, I'm really sowing and reaping and constantly sowing and reaping. Like even now, I've been in the stock market for 8 years. I've known about stocks for 8 years. Now, I haven't put a lot of effort into it because I ultimately feel that first character development should come first, and then wealth after that will be built on top of the fact that I have the discipline to maintain it and manage myself and the world around me as I'm growing that wealth and basically growing like that nest egg, because I know how to deal with people, so I can run the business and I can run the investments. So that's really, I'm just getting myself ironed out until I build up enough capital again to just put it in the stock market and be like, yeah, I got a business that's going to replace that money that I won in the stock market in a couple months, a year, something like that. Like, so that's why I'm really want to build a team around me, build a community, build myself up first, because in this particular game of real estate, leaders go first. So some other areas, arenas, leaders eat last. So that's not the game I'm playing though. I know the rules to multiple games, so just have to apply those to me. So yeah, so I would definitely say like many of those things, I'm actually like tapping into the fact that I've been very fulfilled in my life for a long time. I just haven't realized how fulfilled I've been, because I've probably been fulfilled the entire time. So to not really think about it. Like I've definitely planned it out. Like I used to watch, like, is it possible to live off of $15,000 a year? And I realized, like, no, it's not. I mean, it is if you get a roommate and you're on like you get like state benefits and stuff like that, and food stamps and a lot of other stuff. But it's also just as easy to do research on how to make a better living for yourself. So I've definitely worked out very hard, like not in the same sense of work that my dad does work, because his definition is, you have to go outside and hold something in your hand or tell somebody else to do something and see them taking action on the physical world. That's one way of working. You can work internally as well, which is what I've done a lot of, like working on my mind, the frameworks in my mind, the mental frameworks where I hang ideas on, like, how this works, how that works. Some ideas can get replaced, removed, destroyed. Some ideas are synthesized and created, birthed. Some ideas are expanded. Some ideas are more foundational, and then bedrock is put underneath, or rebar is reinforcing those ideas. So I've done like that type of mental work to where it's like most people I'm encountering just haven't. Like they've just not done that. And I mean, it's fine for them. It's just for me, in my particular distinction and variety of life, I have done that. So I just haven't defined for myself that that is also work. That is also another definition of work. Because, you know, you get a dictionary out and there are multiple definitions for a word. One thing about me and my life is I have to define my life for myself as not just defining like the physical things in life, but defining the mental things in life and realizing that other people have different definitions for their life. And that's their ethics because they have the power to do that. Me, I have a wider breadth of ethics, so I can encompass and incorporate their ethics. However, I choose to use the best, whatever I feel is the best definition, which is my ethics in my life. So me reading and doing research is work. It is getting something done. It is a power because it empowers me to have like produce this type of work, this type of thing, these type of quote unquote artifacts, Mentos, you know, things like that. So, and I mean, like these are, I signed these. Why did I sign them? I don't know, to remind myself, like, whenever I made them, they're facts. So it's a fact. So, business, I do see business as art and people as like, hey, you know, people are just people. And I shouldn't get so downtrodden though, when people are, oh, and I don't want to do something right now for you. Because people have always done that for me my entire life. And I just moved on and made more friends. I think some point I started trying to rush that process. It was when I realized I could become a millionaire. And then that's when I realized I could become a billionaire. And that's when I started rushing that process because I had a lot of money, have a lot of money. And I was like, oh, that's, even though I read the books, it wasn't clicking that like having the money does not make you create the money. And it wasn't a repeatable process either. So that's when I really started like trying to rush further and faster and take more risks when I didn't need to do that. I shouldn't have done that, but again, no one around me had ever had that experience in their life. And they also didn't have the intellectual experience to have come close to having that experience or the work ethic to come close to having that experience. So it was just something that was just astronomically undefinable as far as what to do with this amount of potential in this short amount of time. So that's probably why it's good to like stair step it. That's why I'm just keeping at like 1,000 business cards a month. So that way, like, I know what I can do with, not even I know, but I'm beginning to realize more what my potential is and how I can fulfill that on a day-to-day basis. So that way I'm just continually, gradually growing at a steady pace instead of a rush or some other type of haphazard pace. So, man, that's like 20 years, you know, you always got to do some unpacking. And that's definitely some unpacking. Like, so since I've been cleaning this office out, my house, I guess it was just time for me to just clean out the old noggin. And just let loose. Like, I'm over here. This video is an hour long, 59 minutes. So, that was interesting. Like, I just didn't know I was going to talk about all that. But glad I did, because some things, some realizations, some honors had to give, some recognitions. And yeah, man, just like realizing like, man, my life has been fair. It's been better than most of the time. Most of the time it's been better than most. it's been fun. Like, I've even gone like on cabin trips. Friends have invited me. Like, so I could do something like that for my birthday, but I don't know what I'm gonna do for my birthday. I might take a trip overseas or somewhere in Africa or to the Philippines. So stay tuned for that. If you guys watched to the end, you didn't have to. You just wanted to because I don't know why. Maybe you're curious or you wanted to find out more about me, or you were interested in my speaking dynamic, or you wanted to just get some more information, or you felt you could learn a little bit more about me and why I am successful by hearing my life story and likening it to yours, or seeing ways you could improve on your life in general. For whatever reason, if you've been here this long, I gotta shout you out now and just give you some props, because it takes a lot to listen to somebody for an hour. Like, I know I'll be falling asleep sometimes. These people like, God, shut up already. I'm trying to get out of here. But you didn't. You could have went somewhere else, clicked the button, or been like, nah, I'm good. Deuces. But you didn't. So, shouting you out now. So, if you guys are watching, like, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, something like that. And I'll be making more videos, but it's just like, this is just my lifestyle video, right? So right now I'm really thinking like what to do with my hair next, and then just how to continue being empowered, continue living in my power. Yeah, it's a good way to be. So if you guys could help me do that, bring more people to the community. And like I said, we'll have a lot of fun doing this. Farewell.